Pump 3 we're not using. This is power, lightning bolt, and this is going to be the return. I'm going to have to pick it up because they won't fit correctly on there if they're all 90s, and it'll look kind of messy with 45. So I'm going to pick it up with a 45, and then this will be floating up this way like this, and it'll come this way and then swoop around and flow with the rest of the line, so it'll be nice and neat. This right here is going to be the return from the engine, a -6. It's going to swoop this way as well and come back, go alongside, come back this way, go alongside the fuel manifold where the pickup pumps, or the main pumps are collected or merge, and then go to return. So return, back this way, past the manifold, 45 into the back into the return of the Radium FCST. Then the filler can come out this way as well. I will have room for it. The vent I'll have to plumb later, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. I have a good idea of where to put that. And then I had to measure quite a bit because if you guys don't remember, I put the strut tower bar in there we welded, right? So I can't go too high because that bar actually is welded on the inside and would prevent this from, or prevent me from putting a fitting on the back side of it, because you have to have room, you know, against the wall, and the bar was sitting right here, so I would have drilled that hole, and then I would have been totally screwed because I would have messed this up, and I wouldn't have a way to attach that the way that it's serviceable, maintainable, you know, and nice and neat. So yeah, this has been taking a lot of time. This is okay though. This is why you spend time on certain things, so that you don't mess up on them and you don't regret doing it. Because if I were to drill a hole in this thing and regret it, I would hate myself. I really would. So one more time, just so you guys can kind of visualize it, on the inside of this firewall is a strut tower bar that was welded, for those of you guys who didn't see it in the previous episode. And this is going to sit on the inside, right, protruding just like that, ever so slightly, like that, but the bar is inside, so this had to be moved down. It was up here, as you can see that little mark, and I had to move it down, which meant the whole thing had to move down in order to make it flow and look the way that I wanted it to. So I have this just for my visualization, but I also took this and measured the height to make sure that, you know, it was lower than the bar on the inside. And you guys can see the bar. It's a little bit hard to see up there. There it is. So just gonna double check my measurements, and then I will probably drill my second radiator hole for the bulkhead, and then very slowly measure a third time and a fourth time if I have to, even a fifth time if I have to make sure this is right before doing the fuel filter. This bit is probably toast by now. It's brand new, but it's Harbor Freight. Probably not worth the 20 bucks. I'd definitely recommend you getting a decent bit, because that was a harder task than I thought. If it was sharp enough, I've used some pretty good ones before. They just run right through, but this is steel, so I'm pretty sure the Harbor Freight ones aren't really meant for heavy duty stuff. So let's go ahead and mount this up. And I think I could use a maybe wonder what degree I could use. Maybe like a 120 degree fitting, so it kind of kicks in this way, so I can go behind the pump there. Otherwise I'll have to bend the hose. Alright, gonna put those on. Yeah, looks sick. These are gonna have to angle down ever so slightly, just so that this line doesn't hit the fuel filter, and I have space to take this off. So next is going to be the -8 feed, engine feed. This is pretty cool. This worked out great. What happened was the double-sided tape, I took this off, and double-sided tape just stuck to where it was at, right? So it made like the perfect template for me to be able to drill through there and know exactly where the bar is on the other side so that I don't mess that up. If I mess that up, I would be pretty devastated because it's a lot of work to mess up at this point. So we are going to start the drill. Pumped on that. Ooh, pretty. Yeah, this needs to be, definitely needs to be like a 120. 90's not cutting it. It could work, but I'd rather not bend a hose if I don't have to, you know? It's actually even, but it protrudes more. See that? So I'm gonna have to put a spacer behind the fuel filter. But I just wanted to make sure it was even, and then I'm gonna have to use a small drill bit and do the top one, mount it up, and then I will drill the other two holes from the right and the left. But if you do them all at once, if you mess up, then you're pretty screwed. So this is going to be one of those 1-step, 2-step, and then 3-step things. That should help a little bit. When you do this, you want to make sure that when you're pulling riv nuts, that the tip exudes the actual riv nut itself. If you're going any less than that, then you might be compromising strength on the actual pull, and you could potentially pull the actual threads out of the riv nut when you're pulling it. So you want to make sure that it's fully threaded all the way, and then pull the riv nut. Nice and straight. Don't want to pull it too much. Just enough.
Damn, man. You've been walking forever.
Should be good. Woo! Looks good. Very nice. Very nice. Grab one of these new bolts here. Ooh. I'm gonna have to use one of these. Yeah, I don't know if these are long enough, but I hope they are. We will find out pretty soon. Dope. Alright, we got this leveled out. I just put the level on it, checked it, it's 100% level. I got the one bolt in there. Now I'm going to mark for the other two riv nuts. So I need to find my dry erase marker. Oh, there it is. There. Got my two little holes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That spacer is the spacer that I'm going to need in order to line up the Firewall bulkhead to the actual fitting, because it was inset. It was inset this way too much, and it needed to come out. So found this little plastic spacer. I don't know why I've kept it, but I always keep those little things like that and put them in my little organizer over there, and this time it worked out. Just put this on here, see if it's level. Something like that. This next one's going to be a little bit tricky just because it's a little bit smaller, and I'm trying to make it line up with the Dash 8, and the fitting's just not the same size. So it's shorter and less, it's shorter and less tall, if that makes sense. So the Dash 8's just overall way bigger, right? And then this one's just smaller, so I'm trying to even it up so that the outlets are pretty level. I got it pretty good. I checked it with the level. It's pretty close, but if I don't drill the hole close, it's not going to come out right. So I'm going to have to be real careful with this next one. I'm using my old trusty method right here. Just leaving the double-sided tape on there so that I know where its center is, right? And I can pull this guy off if it'll even come off. I should have a pretty good idea of where it's going to be.